What up, guys? Dave here talking Tenet. Yeah, we're here. Tenet's out. It was supposed to come out on July 17th. It's finally out in some places. As you can tell, Pat is not here with me. I'm talking about the movie Solo. I live in Massachusetts. I had the privilege of seeing Tenet. Pat lives in New York. Theaters are still closed there. They're still closed in California and other parts of the world. So it's an interesting time to be discussing a hotly anticipated film because Tenet, as a Christopher Nolan film, has a lot riding on it. I think this is in general was going to be an interesting movie during normal times, given that it's his most expensive film to date, for example. But I'm going to be talking the broad strokes, no spoilers, but I will be discussing it broadly, a little more than the trailer. So if you're not in an area where you can see the film, maybe bookmark this, save this for later, come back. But I'm just going to discuss generally what I thought without getting too specific. And I was lucky to see this movie with a lately added showtime at a theater close by. I was one of three people in the theater. So not nearly as risky as I think when other people are seeing. I was definitely seeing lots of other packed show times. I did not get to see this in IMAX. I would have loved to see that, considering this movie was shot in IMAX cameras. It actually would have added to the experience, but I took what I can get in terms of mitigating risk and saw it on a normal digital screen. So during these times, I think that's okay. So yeah, I would advise everyone to see this movie when they are comfortable, and in general, avoid the spoilers. That'll probably get more and more challenging. But yeah, Tenet, man. Christopher Nolan back at it again with a major summer blockbuster. And, I think a Nolan movie, like a Tarantino film, even though it's an original movie most of the time, sans Batman, uh, Nolan, Tarantino, they're kind of their own IP, right? That's why they get the money they get to make big movies, even if they're original. So they're always almost not even the best example for original filmmaking to me, because they kind of already made it. They're kind of already in there. They're their own brands, right? So it's always interesting to see how these movies are received and how people talk about them. And maybe one day there'll be a time when Christopher Nolan does not get massive budgets to make movies, but I don't think that'll be the case after Tenet. Tenet's had a better than expected international gross thus far, 53 million internationally, which was above all the forecasts. So it might be challenging for Warner Brothers to break even on this, given the massive spend, but there's an appetite for Nolan movies. So I think hopefully that'll continue. But yeah, Tenet. It's weird because if you watch those trailers, right, they don't really give anything away. You don't have really no idea what the plot is about. You just have this general spy heist aspect. Our lead character is played by John David Washington, and you're having a hard time deciphering what exactly the movie is about. He's just trying to prevent something bad from happening. That's really the whole vibe you get from the trailers. And you know, once you watch the film, you understand that this is a spy film, and it's about preventing World War III. Not a new idea, but because this is a Nolan movie, there are some interesting ways that time is played with, right? Think of Memento, Inception, even Interstellar. This is not a new idea for Nolan, but in Tenet, it really is the whole thing with the movie, right? Moving forward and backward. And that's all I'll say on that. But I think if you're a Christopher Nolan fan, you will like Tenet because it's everything you expect from Nolan at his best, especially the second half of Nolan's career when he got much more bombastic and started really feeling it. It's an enthralling movie, just tons of spectacle, set pieces in every act. It's honestly a really thrilling watch, and I found it really gripping. And that's despite the fact that it moves at a very brisk pace, and especially in the beginning, it does not hold your hand. And I still found it very engaging, but that'll definitely be a pain point for some viewers. And, I made you think of something like Inception, which has detractors due to being able to follow, and even Dunkirk, which I thought was kind of marvelous in the way it played with time in terms of the three, uh, storylines all taking place over different stretch of time. Uh, Tenet makes those movies look like they were made for kindergartners, honestly. But I think once you continue to watch Tenet and you roll with it, you will begin to grasp what's going on. And to me, I found it very rewarding because once I start to pick up on it, you're just on for the ride. And because it's a Nolan film, and because there's big backing from WB, it looks amazing. Hoyton, the cinematographer, Hoyt Van Hoytema, excuse me, cinematographer for Interstellar, Dunkirk. He's back again. But interestingly, Hans Zimmer's not here at the score. We have Ludwig Göransson coming in. Still felt like a Zimmer Nolan score to me. Göransson, of course, continues to rise following Mandalorian success and Black Panther, and obviously coming off the Donald Glover work earlier in his career. So the score really stands out as you'd expect, and because we have all this big budget, and the trailers might suggest this, tons of location shooting, right? We go to the Amalfi Coast in Italy, you go to Estonia and London and Kiev and Mumbai really stood out as well. Lots of awesome scenes at all those places, and the whole like blockbuster package you expect from big Nolan is here, and really I think adds to the film. And then probably the most exciting thing that a lot of people thought was just kind of cast. And Nolan's had great cast for 15 years at this point, but John David Washington, hot off of BlacKkKlansman, he's great again. He's playing our lead protagonist, literally, and I think he does a really good job, especially in the beginning when the plot's really moving at a brisk pace. You're still trying to figure out what's going on. A lot of Bond vibes. He's a very debonair figure, and I think the way he gives the line readings, even when they're similar to Inception, there are some more expository pieces of dialogue to just help explain the rules of the world to the audience. He's such a compelling voice, and nice to look at screen presence that I think it really works. And kind of his handler, compatriot figure in the film, Neil, is played by Robert Pattinson. Very exciting, of course, to see Pattinson return to a blockbuster role after his huge string of indie success the last 5-6 years. And we know this will continue, of course, in the Batman. Pattinson, as you might imagine, once again, fantastic. I think he's a really good foil to Washington, and they both kind of play off each other really well. Really good chemistry. Then Elizabeth Debicki has a really important central role as well in this, and I don't really want to speak on too much of that, but she is a strong female character in this, and that has not always been Nolan's strength. So I think this is really good to see. She's a really central part of the film, and her interplay with both Washington and Pattinson, as well as some other characters, I think really works. Speaking of the rest of the cast, you have Kenneth Branagh in a major role. I think he's really effective. You have small roles from Himesh Patel and Michael Caine, of course, coming in, a classic, a Nolan cameo as you expect. And then probably the biggest standout to me was Dimple Kapadia, who's a Indian screen legend. She makes a very strong impression in this movie. And yeah, I mean, if you think about what you want from Nolan, I think this is it. And you can take that either way. If there's things that you've had a criticism with, criticism of Nolan in the past, narratively, logic-wise, that might still be here for you. But the spectacle, the wow factor, the production values, and the cast, of course, all really shine. So to me, it's a really gripping film, and definitely warrants repeat viewings like a handful of his other films do as well. So looking forward to seeing that probably at a later date. Not going to go rushing back to the theaters given these times, but Tenet definitely, I'd say it's definitely as advertised. So seek this movie out, and if you've seen it, leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you think. Otherwise, subscribe at youtube.com/nostalgiapod. Once Pat finally sees it, he will be chiming in. We'll talk about the movie again, probably in greater spoiler detail, but otherwise, stay tuned and let me know what you think.